here's the deal. I have made multiple videos on why I'm not interested in doing bulk trash pickup, and I'll link that video. So cue this email I got the other day of somebody saying, hey, I've got a house that has all this junk, and this is the picture that they sent. I want to know if you do house cleanouts. And so while normally I won't do bulk pickups, something like this I think is a great opportunity to potentially make some money, where I could just go and pull the truck and rent a dump trailer for a couple $100, pull that and the garbage truck up to a house and, you know, spend a day emptying it out, and then we could go dump everything at the landfill. That's something where logistically it makes more sense, where that would be a time where I would consider some type of bulk trash out versus, you know, doing a little couch here at this person's house or a little chair at this one. That doesn't make sense, but something like a whole home trash out could. So I said, yeah, I'd love to help, and the guy asked for a price, and I said that I'd need to come see it. And then he wrote back and basically expressed that it was very important to him to have a quote without me coming to see it. Now the issue with this is I have no clue what I'm looking at, and this is what I told him. I don't know if that picture shows wood materials. I don't know if it's showing metal filing cabinets. Are they appliances? Is it a dishwasher? And if I can't tell, then I can't accurately bid because I don't know how much it's going to cost for me to dispose of those things. And so I have to be able to come see it. I don't guess he cared for that answer much because I never heard back from him. I think what I'd like you to think about if you were starting out in business for yourself, especially in this trash pickup industry, is that what that person showed, at the very least, was that he didn't care about our business. Like if you're doing a job for somebody, I think it should benefit both parties. And so if I'm explaining to someone, I need to go look at it, otherwise there's a chance I lose money. If they hear that and they don't care, then that shows me they have zero regard for myself, my business, my family, which is fine. If you're buying something, you have all the decision-making authority of what's going to go into that purchase. So if it's something where all you care about is the lowest price, then do exactly what that guy did and just say, hey, I'm getting quotes. What's it going to cost for this super low image quality to haul everything out? And I get comments all the time when I talk about why I won't do certain business things. You know, maybe it's offer recycling, maybe it's do bulk trash pickup. There's always some percentage of people in the comments who just say, well, that's because you're lazy and you don't want to work hard. But I get it, because that's the easy response when you don't want to think about anything or when you don't know any better. Turning down work doesn't mean you're lazy necessarily. In this instance, the only reason I would want to take on this job is because I was confident that the time my wife and I put into it and all the expenses that would go into it would be covered. If I can't tell what in the world is being picked up, if I can't tell what's on the floor, like is it something I'm going to have to bring a rake to scrape off of the carpet? Is it something that is biohazard? Was this a hoarder's house and there's, you know, animal feces everywhere? If I can't figure those things out, I'm gonna pass on that job rather than guess and try and make a couple bucks. And I think a common rebuttal to that is, you know, well, if you think this is gonna be a problem customer, just go ahead and bid a ridiculously high price. There's an impolite term for that kind of a bid. Because if they say no, great, you won't have to deal with them. And if they say yes, you'll be making a ton of money. And that's completely valid as well, if you know that lines up with your values. I've seen that having a bad customer is almost never worth whatever money you make. And again, I don't know this guy from Adam, so I can't say he is a bad customer. I can only tell you what I experienced during our brief interaction. And then I'm drawing my conclusions from that. At the end of the day, I would never pass judgment on how someone decides to run their business. I hope people extend the same courtesy to me. And since this is YouTube, I know some folks are going to still say, yeah, you're lazy for not wanting to do it. That's the real reason. There's a small group of people who love predicting how much longer I'm going to be in business or how long it's going to be before I close down. That's fine. That's the whole point of this channel and these videos, is to show you how this business is doing so that you can use and take that information for your own benefit, for your own entertainment. And if it ends up that we close down, then hey, we close down and you're going to see it on this channel. But if I had to sum it up, the point is, if you're in business, and maybe especially if you're just starting out, you could be tempted to take any job that comes along just so you can make some money, or maybe it's a slow time of year and you really need the work. And if you need it to make ends meet, you know, far be it from me to tell you you're wrong for it. But if you do have any flexibility in whether or not you take that job, I would just remind you to take a minute and, you know, talk to yourself about it and realize that if you try to make money by taking on the wrong job, you will be frustrated and you will regret it. If you watch other videos related to this topic, you can see people say, I have never regretted a job I've turned down, but I have regretted jobs I've taken. And you don't want to end up in that situation, especially if you've got someone who you've explained the way your business works and the things that you need to do, and they say, yeah, I really don't care. Or they show by their actions that they might not care. To me, that would be a red flag where you say, maybe my time's better spent in another endeavor. And I kind of wanted to bid that job, you know. I thought it would make a good video. I thought it would make a good teaching experience where I could say, hey, here's how much I thought it was going to be in dump fees. Here's how far I was off. If you're doing this, you know, here's some things you can consider. So I wanted that job for sure. I wanted to go take a look at the house and bid it and walk through and everything, but I don't know trash outs well enough to be able to know what I'm looking at from just a picture. I definitely don't know how much all that stuff weighs. You know, who knows if I would be able to do my dump fees, guess them accurately. I'm fairly certain I wouldn't be able to. I know there's people who are going to disagree with me in the comments. I welcome that. Feel free to share your viewpoints. I'm not trying to change your mind. I'm just saying this is how I operate. These are the things that I've seen. The information is worth what you paid for it, which is nothing. But I am confident if you take every single job just because you want to make some money, there will be instances where you're like, yeah, this one was a mistake. I should have paid attention to the warning signs. And to me, this is a good example of one of those warning signs. I could be wrong. The guy could be really nice, and I could be miscategorizing him. I could be wrong. Whatever the word is, I'm fully willing to admit that I could be wrong. But because of the fact that if I don't get the bid right, I am losing money, I'm spending money to work, it's just not a risk I'm willing to take. And I think the thing I'd like to close with again, I'm not expecting you to do the same thing I do. If you say, well, if somebody wants me to do a job, I'm gonna do it, and I don't care if I can't see, I'm just gonna, you know, bid high and make sure I guess right or any of that stuff, that's fine. I'm not mad at you for doing that. I'm just explaining why I'm not choosing to go that route in this business. At the end of the day, you're the one who has to make all those decisions. That's the reason why I made mine.